we should continue to do for other churches?
By all means, I think it's something that should be done. Unfortunately, because many churches do not have a lot of resources, they may not see coming to you as a necessary expenditure.
Okay.
They may think they can go to someone who's
Okay.
but give you a for instance, on an analogy. I own a Mercedes-Benz. I don't take my Mercedes-Benz
Right.
to just any mechanic.
Yes, right.
I take it to someone who has an expertise
Yeah.
in how to fix
Yes.
this particular foreign car.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same principle applies to how to be in compliance with Internal Revenue Service. I think it behooves or should behoove a church to seek out an expert in clergy and tax compliance. And you certainly have all the credentials, and not only do you have the credentials, but you also have a proven track record. And I have been impressed. Again, I've had forensics accounting, I've had all of the auditing classes, worked as an auditor for 13 years, so I have a tendency to look at things with a jaundiced eye. But having had this experience and relationship with you over the last 3 years, what it has done for our church is just phenomenal. And not only for the church, but also for the Mount Sinai Center for Community Enrichment.
Yes. So so actually, there's been an exercise of gross negligence on part of the church to coming into compliance. You know what's worse? Not only not being in compliance, but not knowing.
Well, I think it's more so that I don't think that the majority of the churches deliberately
Right.
conduct their affairs in non-compliance.
Right.
I think it's out of just not knowing anything
Right.
that they do that. As often as I can, I try to share the message with other pastors, the need to seek out the services of Pt. Chester to come in and perform a tax compliance audit. I think is just necessary for a couple of reasons. One, because it's the right thing to do. Second, because of President Bush's faith-based initiative,
Yeah.
churches are in a position where they could receive funding
That is correct.
to enhance what they already
Yes.
do.
Yes.
However, what I have encouraged churches to do is to position themselves
Right.
when those monies come down, position themselves through the incorporation of a 501c3 entity,
Yes. Yes.
so that monies are channeled through there
Yes.
to perform the services necessary for our communities. And that's where your efforts are much needed.
I agree with you. Getting back to the basics, I think every church should be a 501c3. They should have their articles of incorporation together. Their bylaws should be, spotless. And, they should really get to a person who understands these things.
Sure.
We specialize in church compliance. We specialize in as tax experts in preparing ministers' tax returns.
That's right.
We know how to put across the applications to the IRS. I hold more than one licenses, and what the comfortability level should be for the church is that, listen, this man, in addition to his expertise, is a man of God.
That's correct.
And you know me also as a man of God.
That's correct.
And you've been also praying, for our ministry here, our organization here. And what I want to focus on is, I think that if we continue to do what we're doing, more churches will hear about what has to be done. The exposure is going out there. It's getting on television. It's getting on radio, word of mouth. So I think we're headed in the right direction. Is there one advice you'd like to give to these churches on what they should do or where they should go, or what should be the next step? Now they're listening and saying, well, our church is just like that, was like his, or maybe it's worse than his. Maybe they have no books or records, and we're fear. Maybe there's a fear there. They're fearful to come forward. There is, the IRS will not come and close you down, because do you understand that? Acknowledge them with the power of return. Like where we come in, IRS has to go through our firm first before they can go through the church, and that's what we've been doing. So we are the mediator, actually, between the church and the IRS. So churches are able to be at a relaxed position to know our firm is really taking care of all their needs.
I think the churches need to do it because it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing.
It's about more than just being spiritually astute. It's about making sure that the business affairs of the church are handled in an appropriate manner. And the fact of the matter is, all of the expertise that's needed is not within the congregation.
That's right.
All right, and I think there has to be a recognition of that. One of my mentors, Reverend Dr. Youngblood, shared in a conference one day that his job description as pastor, and he said, "My job description as pastor is not to know everything, but to at least know who knows what I don't know."
Right.
And I think that's every pastor's perspective. Unfortunately, there are some pastors that feel they have to know everything.
Right. Right.
And that's unfortunate.
Yes.
I think that to the extent a pastor really loves God and has the pulse of the people and have the people at heart as the best interest, then it should behoove him to bring in the experts who can best
correct.
Audit.
And also with Board of Trustees, you mean Board of Trustees don't even know that they're liable
That's correct.
for the activities of the church?
Because they have fiduciary responsibility.
And they don't know this.
That's
A church member, a church Board of Trustee member, the pastor can be sued personally for acts of the church, the congregation. How many churches doesn't have liability protection? They think they can just go ahead and have service and just carry on God's work. Everything is this things to be done decently and in order.
That's correct.
So these are things we try to put together in a compliance measure. So it's really something that's really, I think every church we've been involved with, Dr. Brown, it's not been good. They hadn't either had their books or records together. The pastor is collecting income, and that's another exposure, and they're not reporting it. And IRS is unaware of this. As you know, IRS have segregated 25% of their whole units in auditing non-for-profits in churches. And this has never been done before. So the church is going to have to wake up sometime, or else they're going to be at a place where if they don't put their house in order, the IRS will come in and do it for them. So I feel it's a point in time where they have to wake up. And
not only that, but if a church is looking to do ministry that's going to thrive in this century, then there's no way that's going to happen without the church being administratively sound.
Yes.
Since we've engaged you, we have acquired 3 properties. As we negotiated and interfaced with our bank, part and parcel of that necessitated the presentation of financial a financial statement.
That's correct.
Without the financial statement, the financial statement is what shows the picture of the administration of the church.
That's correct.
Without that document, we would not have been able to execute the transaction. So you were very successful in doing the audit and also generating the records for us, so that we were able to execute a 3-property deal back in September, which we're excited about.
Yes.
We're presently in contract to buy a building across the street from our new sanctuary that's going to serve as our corporate headquarters. We were able to execute that course because we were able to present financial records. As a matter of fact, one of the comments that was made by the senior loan officer was that he had never dealt with a not-for-profit that was as sophisticated, this is his word, as sophisticated as ours.
Yes.
And he was able to glean that perspective based on the professionalism he saw.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Because churches don't come together, you know what? You always see these big firms hiring the best.
Yes.
That's, I think, the problem with some of the churches. They're looking for always a cheap way out, inexpensive way out.
Yes.
And that's their shortfall. And like you say, if churches will get a balance sheet together, or where their equity and net worth is all established, they can present this to a bank. You're absolutely right. And that can secure them loans and mortgages and financing. And it's very essential, very important, and it's inherent to any sophisticated church. Whether they have books or records or not, we can bring it together.
That's correct.
Whether the pastor has income or not, we can advise them how to put together W-2s, get their returns filed. You know how many ministers don't file tax returns? I was engaged in a conference, and I was mentioning to a few of the membership that was there, and they were telling me, we don't file tax returns. We are ministers. We don't file returns. And I can't believe this is what's happening in America. So we want to make sure, you see, this program is to make sure people understand, the elements that are out there that's needed for the church to understand how important it is for them to get in contact with a firm that can establish precepts for themselves so they can come into a compliance before Irish really brings the whole unit or team together. But I got to tell you, Dr. Brown, you've been a very sophisticated individual for our firm. Your company and affiliates, I believe, is going to go to higher heights and deeper depths for God, and we're there for you all the way. We want to thank you for coming on our show. We really appreciate it, Dr. Brown.
All right, pleasure being with you tonight.
Yes, and this is the Upper Chester CPA Today Show. Wrapping it up again. Our number is 718-291-2722 if you need any information regarding anything, whether it be taxes, whether it be investing, church compliance, issues you need answers to. Call me at 718-291-2722. That is 718-291-2722. Thank you.